meto tang rira ninde yemba di sanje shindu medibu dogun namda shin la cheba sho idang guru ran yana
What does severance of a continuum of similar type mean? Tanda ripa gyunche chi ripa tumbe ripa gyunche chi sunya chura di khalis warasa.
Ripa gyunche ba sede.
Tumbe ripa.
Gyunche ba sede. Ripa gyunche.
And similar types, in the Didabe Rube Gun Tunchava.
Gunva? Tumarva?
Gun.
It was this morning when he was talking about the final nirvana of the severing
Siva Tamach Shachara, Site Nakap Ripecun Church. Decol, decups. Ripecun Chair.
Ripecun Chair said, Tajun to the corner young Resena. Sami Yande said Top Dugala. Sami Yande Top Dugala. Anitanda di Casore. Omag, Tupta Omagi. Sami Yande Top Dugala. Ani. Dajom Banyang Island, Dedicola, Uzi Duchet Andicala, Pumboya Juche, Ribaya Junche, Casa, in Bashi, Luasico, in Bashi.
In Bashi.
In Sena, Lamanya, their Koran, Jubaleva. Rinde June, but in this Rinde June, your marry. Rinde June, but that did Dungendela. Dungandela Tadu Tipa Sum the Trua, Singer Dungan take Tandiki, Tartu di Zamba, Tanda Chiramawaki, Ani Tambo Dajum Todi Gamba, Pumbo Yoache, Pumbo Yoache. That Dajum Tony Dajum by the Kuja Dujet Andikana, Ani Pumbo Junche, Riba Junche, Tidigala, Bamba the Bashi Luba in Zang, Tella Pumbo may be not there, Pumbo Hama may be not there in Zang, and it's Hama not there,
So, the severance of the continuum of a similar type of the severance of a continuum, as mentioned this morning, was mentioned at the time of the attainment of the nirvana without remainder. So, according to the lower tenets, then it is said that the arhat, according to lower tenets, the arhats, when they attain the nirvana without remainder, which is when they pass away, then the continuum of the aggregates is cut off. Severed, the mental continuum, the continuum of the person, all of that is severed, and what remains is only the sphere meaning the sphere of the nirvana without remainder is the only sphere that which remains. Even with regards to the question of the severance of a continuum of a similar type, then it is the same. In the when you sort of propound the view of that ultimately that there are three vehicles, according to the Vaibhashikans, then the view is that when you first attain the state of an arhat, then upon death, then basically the continuum of the aggregates and the mental continuum, the continuum of the person, all of that is severed, and so what remains is only the state of the total abandonment.
망제 송당 다가라래.
La.
송당 다가라래. 단대 들어와.
Most hold this view.
이나양 도바지라 아니 가를 뒤제기 주바 균체 뒤제기 주바 균체 뒤제 부자와는 주바 균체 세대라 뒤제기 주바 뒤제자는 균체 봐
뒤제 균체
뒤제 주바 균체 봐서 양 대단 지라 상매기를 봐 대여와래 삭제기를 봐 균체 봐서야 개와 가시기 시주들이 양요와래.
Although this is the general viewpoint, but there is some sort of question with regards to the in the severance of the continuum of the of that which is a composite phenomenon. So, with regards to this question, then some very learned people then they say that the severance of that which is contaminated happens, but there is no severance with regards to what is uncontaminated. So the next question is. If our obscured mind cannot see Buddhas, then how do we know definitely they are real? Likewise with Mount Meru, 4 continents, and the different protectors. Nganzu ta nyomombe semdige sange je matuna ani sange sia the mune thane yombachi khande sa khoya yores.
그렇지라.
nyoma besem jorwa di ta sange je thu omarwa ta sange je mo thu de sange sia ngone thane yoba che kandes ngonde thanjo kandes ha khures sore khach tine shin ta na rige borira ta lingshi ta chukyon suma sa de ta anso thungo omarwa mon besem de maton san dige yoba de kandes ha khures
마도 강가 아니 메시고 주나 아니 안지 토마토한테 뉴뉴이면 돼요 말이었어
if we
마도 지나 몇번 미샤레시 소스 마도 이는 몇번 차와지고 말이 지당하러 와나 이제 산지
that basically the thing is to say that just because I cannot see that these things do not exist is not valid. Because what we see is so limited, and what we do not see is so much more, and you cannot make that the reasoning for things not existing just because you cannot see.
이제 남들 가라 마도와 잠짐 아니 매바샤 자스나 하장 타기 와레시.
So therefore in Pramanavartika it states saying that if you give you're not being able to see as the reason for things not existing, then that's a very extreme form of reasoning.
여와대 간디 두고래서나 아니 산제 생각이 여와 가래래서는 단다 릭딘주기 아니 랑기 몽바된저 미시비 몽바된저 세루인바 셈지라신라 미시 몽바된 마슈와
셈지라신라
미시 몽바된 마슈와 미시그 몽바데 루부와 인바 다와를 주베기 리바 테다기 아니 산제 생각です 여와지 아니 칼리 시에요르스.
So how can we slowly come to understand and see that the Buddha does exist is through understanding what Buddha nature is about. It is based on the strength of these reasonings that we can establish that there is Buddhahood or there is a Buddha. Whatever defilements of not knowing, ignorance, knowing that they can all be exhausted, removed. That these defilements of not knowing, ignorance, and so forth do not exist in the nature of the mind. All of these reasonings that establish the fact that that Buddhahood is attainable is what will enable us to see or to understand that Buddhahood does exist. So if the Prasangika notion of nirvana in general is emptiness of the mind, purified of obstacles, then how can there be a differentiation between a nirvana with remainder having the appearance of true existence and nirvana without remainder, without the appearance of true existence, such as appearance of true existence or lack of it only occurs in the mind perceiving emptiness, not in the object emptiness itself, which is the actual cessation or nirvana. Chida Tangyube Lugla Shabra China the Nyangde Shaya data Tony Shawarwa Tombani, but the same Tuba Tamje Tabe Church. And Dinde Yembarachina, and this, then how can there be a difference between Dinde, the Tongue Beta, Yande Shatsuta, Tomani to Shadu Ganlia, and Hachegi Yande, Hamegi Yandela, Keva Congestion, Hutchinson, Chigla, Deke, Dembadube Nawa Yobata, Chiglin, Dembadube Nawa Mevach, Lakcheda Hame. Dembadube Nawa Tajora, that the same, the Eugene one is shower. Dinde Sunsan, you can go on Johnny, you don't want you go neta, Dinde Shire Yomara, now I said. This Hutchinson, the you don't want neta could Ogden Konarwa.
Well, that didn't see what it is. Tanju Lula, that's Casore. Nyande toge me kansa jwara kuki semgi chuni jwara semgi chuni de semgi chuni ma semgi toni jwara semgi toni de nyande da jombe komba topde zamba toni de ani nyindu pambe pamba ke ngoto gore ra nyindu pambe goden se go semgi chuni go na nyindu dan chawa yinjang ani chuni de nyindu pambe pamba de de goden se de goden re Yandere,
so, in the case of, from a Pasangika standpoint, then in the case of an individual who is on the verge of attaining nirvana, then this individual's, reality of the mind, which is the dhammadhatu of the mind, which is the emptiness of the mind, then is now totally removed of all the obscuration of delusions. So when it becomes, when it becomes completely removed of the delusions, that reality, that dhammadhatu of that mind is transformed into the nature of that cessation.
That's one.
Yancho just soon on the Tanda Pambe Motigo.
Oh, Pambe Gongo, Koresana, Tajum Tobana, Tajum Toga, me Kasaki Golan Biguji Sembichi, Chuni de Tajum Tobana, Ani Kasore, Ninju Pambi, Goten, who Ninju that tower in the Ninju Pambi Goten Gomoto.
Goten. So the
Ninju Pambi Goten, Yande, you got it.
So, in the dharmadhatu of that mind, which is the emptiness of that mind, which is about to attain the state of an arhat. When it attains that state of an arhat, is when that mind is totally removed of all the obscuration of delusions, and so that mind, when it is removed of all the obscuration of delusions, then it attains the cessation, the liberation, or the nirvana. So that mind is transformed into the nature of that total abandonment of obscurations.
텐더위 심지 치니모 고된테 고된고 냥데리 텐더위 냥데디 딱 그래서나 탄주비 순대 잠바 대난길 하마단 차위 냥데들라 하면 냥데 대난길 하마다 제위 냥데들라 학자 냥데 대난길 하마다 마제위 냥데들라 하면 냥데스 거래 로 대난길 하마다 제세디
So this Dhamma Dhatu of the mind, the ultimate reality of the mind, which is the cessation, which is the liberation, if it is without the appearance of true existence, if it is without the appearance of true existence, then it is a nirvana without remainder. And if it is if it still has the appearance of true existence, then it is a remainder. It is a nirvana with remainder.
Oh yeah.
So is that question okay?
안돼
Okay.
근데디 일단 대난글하면 일단 다 가서래 대난글하마다 제세 맞제세의 컨디션에서나 냥대 콜라 대난글하마 유게자 말이 와 냥대 뒤줄에 댐베 강사티라 강사든 줄라 아니 렌루도 나 온주와 유나 냥대디 대난글하마다 제위 냥대스 냥대 뒤줄에 댐베 강사도 줄라 렌루도 나 온주와 메나 대난글 하면 maybe 냥대스 거래
So the Nyande Quran la.
코란은 렌루 나마야 요 말이야 그 답은
So nirvana or liberation itself, is not associated with any kind of true appearance, or there being a true appearance, or there not being a true appearance. It has no association like that at all. Liberation itself or nirvana itself has nothing like that. But the person, in the mental continuum of the person who has attained that nirvana, then if this person has the direct appearance of true existence, then it is a nirvana with remainder. But if the mental continuum of the person who has attained that nirvana does not have the experience of the direct appearance of true existence, then it is a nirvana without remainder.
그렇죠. 나 이제 토마토에 가사디 줄라 덴루도 나요로 원주도 매와데 가르레에서나 텐드라와데 냠샤바레.
So
라 돈이라 때지도 냠바체베 냠샤 가사도 줄라 덴루도 나요로 원주도 말에.
In the case of the Arhat who has attained nirvana for the first time, just attains the nirvana, then in the mental continuum of this person, there is no direct appearance of true existence at all, because that mind at that first, just newly attaining liberation, that mind is a mind of equipoise, of single-pointedly engaged in the direct realization of emptiness. So it does not have any direct appearance of true existence.
그죠? 대인자 탄주율라 하면야데 땡야라 톱 티제라 냠샤라 당디 잠바 아니 덴두도 나요로 원주데 리드가라 아니 콜하자야데 저거래.
So it is because of this reasoning that Prasangika state that what you attain first is the nirvana without remainder, and then from that, when you arise from that state of that equipoise, then you have nirvana with remainder.
Oh yeah.
If Aryas in equipoise have no ignorance or imprints of ignorance, how does ignorance return in post-meditation? Papa Namyamshagi Nekapsu on Marikbata, di Marikbe Pacha, Nyamshagi Nekapsu, Mabrechina, Jetobla Marikba Yan Lavloya condition goddess.
Mariba tam Pacha, Nyamshagi Negasu, Takaso, Mabambi, Mula, Satumba Yenjet, Menjetu. 냠샤기 나가담 머리바다 머리 파자니가 요아래 머리바다 파자니가 요아래데 머리방 운주디와 말마도 머리바 요아래.
So in the case of the Aryas who have not abandoned ignorance or the imprints of ignorance, which is all Aryas below the seventh bhumi all have not abandoned ignorance and imprints of ignorance. So therefore so therefore Nyamchaki Negas Kasuma.
Nyamchaki Negas Mariba Paja Yuares.
Pachaya, Mungwa.
Mariba Yuares. The Mariba Munjudiwa Mares.
So in equipoise, they do have ignorance, they do have the imprints of the ignorance, but during the phase of the equipoise, they do not have the direct or manifest form of ignorance. And why is the simultaneity of defiled and undefiled suchness said to be inconceivable when we are conceiving it now as we read and study these texts? When we are conceiving that. Sange Mikeba Shaya in the Sunya, the Gimse Kades, Kajasan, Tanda, Nazu, Lopchun Chidigan, Ditola, Lopchun Chidigan, Ditola, the chicken, Ditol, some Mikeb came in those or. That means you already realized emptiness. If there is nothing inconceivable about it.
The
later part of the text deals with why, in what respect it is inconceivable. Okay. If Buddha nature is empty, how can it be that? How can it be that the qualities of the Buddha can be developed in the continuum of sentient beings? If Buddha nature is empty. How can it be that the qualities of Buddha can be developed? Sangegi yunden den so semchingi gyula keya yoba kandes yungre sure.
Sangegi rixiti
Sangegi rixia tomba yena.
Tomba tonja sigre.
Is that it? Whose question? It's empty, yeah.
Yeah, da Sangegi said Tomba Nigina, said Tomba Nisa, Tomba said, and I took Hagan make a Tomba Sigamara. Tony said it, Chuni said it. Sanjay the Chuni Yinzang, Rashi Tomba Yinzang, and the Chuni Jigi Rashi la, and the Timid Labamachu attaching at it. Semi is and you cast a semi Rashi called a Chuni the Timid Labamachu Yinzang, and the Tima John Jigi. Lam Tedagi, Semji Chini, Tumajimba, Shindu Jambe, Tatter, and a Topji, and a Topja to Zimba, Shindu Tone, and a Chanju Tobajongo.
So, when we talk about Buddha nature is empty, it's not empty in the general sense of the empty, but we have to talk about it being the emptiness of it, the suchness of the Buddha nature. So, empty of intrinsic or inherent existence. And so that is the Dhammadhatu, or the ultimate reality of the mind. And so, so therefore, since this suchness of the mind, the ultimate reality of the mind, is free from the defilements, from the contamination of the defilements. So, whatever defilements are there, advantage, temporarily there, then can be purified through the means of the application of the path. And because they can be purified, since the defilements of the mind can be purified, then you have the attainment of enlightenment and the qualities associated with that enlightenment. It's okay. Bhagavadesha. Task.
Oh yeah, that didn't. Tang azo said a top of Gujanji number Shaba said it. Ani Tobachi Judan Jing number Shaba said it. Judan Jen said it. A Rik de Nieling Judan. Ani Chang Judan, and then Tila somebody Jinji number Shaba said to somebody.
So, the Buddha nature, which is the element, and then the enlightenment, qualities and activities, they constitute the causes and conditions to actualize the result. The result of to actualize the result. So the element is like the substantial cause. The Buddha nature is like the substantial cause, and the enlightenment qualities and activities are like the cooperative conditions. So these last four Vajra points are the causes and conditions to actualize the result.
아니 직대는 대비 레소 탐제 아니 가서로 직대는 대비 넘버 타바 탐제 기위 네 가서를 내 군조섬 이다스是吧 대개 군조섬 보다 개월 집이 규젠티 규젠기 온도 제나 다 가르래서나 아니 단다 되게 즉시 잡아디 마 연구하래.
So these four last Vajra points are the causes conditions to actualize the result of the result of the rare and sublime three jewels. So for us to be for us to accumulate all the excellences of this world and beyond, up to the result of the resultant state of the rare and sublime three, then the causes and conditions for it are these four Vajra points.
Oh yeah, 진짜 이상 다 지를 릭 생각에 가상아마 시와 나신이 전에 릭 세들 감라 거야 감 된다. 아니 사변 아니 그 된들라 거야요 이 말이야. 소소소 깜도지. 그러나
사변체,
규체, 감체, 아니야, 귤라양 거야 이 말.
So this Buddha nature can also be known as the element, can be known as the seed, can be known as the continuum, can be known as the cause.
내가 르드줄라 아니 나베 춥다 소소 믿음바, 라 믿음바.
So the presentation of what the Buddha nature is slightly different according to the view of the Buddhist, different Buddhist tenets have slight variations in the presentation of what the Buddha nature is about.
근데 이상 아니 체라마와기 간데송과레서나 랑데 팔람지 귤이 추위 가서 랑데 팔람지 귤이 추위 랑게 데우리 추위 팔람지 되기 아니 귤이 추위 아니 셈중 아니 마자비 셈지 마자바지라 셈바지라 아니 르스거래.
So according to, according to the Vaibhashikans, then what is the Buddha nature is a secondary mental factor which is without attachment, which acts as the cause for its own Arya path. Of its own resultant, Arya path.
Arande parang dawuji palamdi juri chuwi ani semju majabaki ani majabachila ani
so according to Vaibhashikans, then what is the Buddha nature is that unattached secondary mind which acts as a cause for its own resultant Arya path.
아니 리라 파베르시 로 파베르시 소녀몽을 잠기 쳐봐 파베리 내망을 잠지 봐봐 파베리 시카로다 수경을 잠지 쳐봐 파베리 봉화당 공부라 가와 파베리 전이 파베르시 전이 도시되고 하래.
And so, there are four types of Aryas, or there are four types of Aryas. Aryas, who are just satisfied with begging for their means of living, with whatever they received in the form of alms or sunyam, whatever they receive in the form. Aryas who who are satisfied with whatever room and board kind of shelter or they have, like that. Aryas who who are satisfied with just the clothing of their robes. Aryas who are who are satisfied or happy with just the meditative states of abandonments, the removal of defilements, who are satisfied or who are happy with just meditative states of abandonments.
Oh. 아디기나네 숨지 추된 타매래 시가래 숨지 추된 세가라 당보 숨보 대기 아니 가설에 탑가 파베 도바 지어라 쳬바당 아니 파베 도바 지어라 쳬바게 탑당 아니 보아도 공부라 가와디 아니 탑 파베 도바 지어라 쳬바게 중어디 전이 숨지 추된 타매래 전이가라 오
So, in the case of these four types of Aryas, then the first three are the method, and the last one, which is joy in the meditative states of abandonment, that is the actual action. So the first three, we're talking about, being kind of satisfied with just alms or with just whatever room or board or shelter or just the robes. These are like the method to actualizing the realizations of the Arya state. And the fourth one, the joy in the meditative states of abandonment, is the actual cause for generating those realizations.
Oh, 티 주단 땡시 칠 세가라 당부심보 대기 아니 다다다기와 내가라 도바체밤 그와 아니
다다다기와
다다다기와 진피 그와 다다 다중의 추세를 파바 도바체밤 다다다기와 세바체비 탑담반에 니가 주고 하래 그와 다 타면에 가서 뒤 주단 땡시 칠세가라 뽕알라 공발라 가요 공중 대기 아니 당진 때문에 세바치고 하래시
So, the first three, the first three also is a means for exhausting, the sense of what is the I and what is mine, and the fourth one, which is the joy in the meditative states of abandonment, then that is the means to exhausting the self-grasping.
Oh yeah, then the that could be real, proper real. 안에 심주 맞아와 쇼고 군전대 가와래 군전 가와 투고와래 sana 아니 제라마와기 공부시에서데 아니 khotsade sebalas ro chabe wangi ani lenyu gi jawlang chabe wangi khwar khotsigi khwar jeji gi ju zawade sebamendo timu mari ba jomodu ba khotsa seba yinjang ani seba ponje gi jula ani simju majawa shokwa wa yinjang ani majawa phabir la shokwa we kinjenti bare
So this is the reason why, why Vaishnavas state that the Buddha nature is associated with an unattached mind state as a secondary mental factor which is not attached. Because according to the Vaishnavas, then for them, what is the root of samsaric existence is this craving, is this attachment. Somehow, for the Vaishnavas, they cannot designate ignorance as the root of samsaric existence. Somehow they cannot fathom that this is the root of cyclic existence. So for them, the root of samsara is attachment. So therefore, when talking about what is Buddha nature from a Vaibhashikan standpoint, it is a secondary mental factor which is not attached.
인상 아니 파베리라 동반이 그 과자는 매신게 지라 아니 사모 동반이 르레 차와래 아니 르키와디 아니 규당 자와다 사변라 주그레 인상 심주 마샤와디 강라야 마샤와 전대중 조세되네 마샤바디 아니 가르레서나 파베르레 디 파바도 받게 봐라 타바 조지 그 사베르잖아 아니
doctor 같이 사운드
같이 뭐가 라셔샤
so fast even my shorthand cannot keep up with him. Pape 대대선상 파페 릭된 수다 동반이 마샤야 동반이 이게
들어와 미메지라 돈이 모공갱기 가사지라 아니 semji chini rigre se lawa tang ane semju maja wa de rigre sana lawa ni wo de kare pando chigre sana wo de pando chare lawa khoma na ra tongba ni kwa chini mengai ji la toni rigre lawa le rig singa de kare sana gyang sabam ane kamla sigre se ane tabar joba chebe sabe semju maja wa de rigre sana ane pando chare.
So therefore, to an individual who has absolutely no understanding of what emptiness is about, talking about the ultimate reality of the mind or the emptiness or the seed or the continuum as being the as being the Buddha nature or as being the if you see this as as opposed to saying that, what is the Buddha nature is a secondary mental factor which is not attached. Between those two presentations, then the second one is much more relevant to someone who has absolutely no understanding of emptiness.
Oh yeah, this is that Cheramawagi, Simju Majawa, Randa Papa Guji, Simju Majawa Chila, Risu Shavacha. That he then do Dodewagi, Ani Simju Mashaba, Ani Sami Simji Sabinjila, Sabam be Simji Sabin, Tamindu Chachila, that's just chocolate. Chini
Simju Machaba, Same Simgi Sabin.
Simju Maja Macha, Sami Simji Sabin, Macha, Jonga Chiramawa. That's
Igala.
Temasha Bacha. Temasha Bacha. Oh, Sami Simji Tango, Simji Dingi, Ane Sami Simji Joki, Nuachila, Ane Sabiam Nuachila, Riksawari.
So therefore, Vaibhashikans, what they present as the Buddha nature is this secondary mind, which is unattached, which acts as a cause for its own resultant Arya path. Now, South Africans, they don't talk about a secondary mental factor of a mind which is not attached. They don't talk about that. What they designate, present as the Buddha nature is this potential or seed for the uncontaminated mind that exists on the basis of the mind. The seed or the potential for the uncontaminated mind existing on the basis of the mind.
Desha, that Dijela, Ani Semzambagi, that teaching the Kasa, Tumdama, Semzambagi, Ani Kandishaguare, Sena. Chuni Casa Rick Singadella, that Casangama Shuana, Shin Cheni, Rick Singadella, DJ Gogo, Kenchik. Rilla DJ Yungo, the country conquer, some of Kawatango, Sena, Semzam Bagi, Ani Chidanagi, Che Tamje, Nangushi Dingi, Ani Pajamimbala than a Chumachi. Gushi Dingi Pajamimbala than a Chumachi Dugari.
So then the Chittamatrans, of the viewpoint of the Mahayana schools. So what is the Dharmadhatu? What is the Buddha nature? According to the Chittamatran, then it has to be a composite phenomenon. Phenomenon. Why is that so? It's because according to the Chittamatrans, then all phenomena, outer and inner phenomena, animate, inanimate phenomena, then arises from the imprints of the foundational mind. The mind which is the basis of all. All outer and inner phenomena then arises from the imprints of this foundational mind, or the mind which is the basis of all the imprints.
Oh yeah, then Rikoran Chumba Yinzang, Rila Duche, Telayang, Ani Rashin Eridang, Ani Genjuk Rixiche.
So therefore, according to the Chittamatrans, then this nature or this element has to be a composite phenomenon, and they are differentiated as the naturally abiding Buddha nature and the developmental Buddha nature.
Oh. Ani Rashineri Singade, Toma Mebane. Ani Java Chine, Gide, Toma Chine, Java Chine, Judimba, Shiduba, Juan, Toma Mebane, Chine, Judo, Oa. Toya down, Chini good of the Toa Mando, Ani Tendriki, Ani Casore, Tapcom Chat, and Toa Maimba. Satu Tap, Chini good of the Toa. So, Ani Chabasumiwari, Chubaiji Jejera Dembas, Chubaji Jejete, Toma Mebana, one ambitious to Gavre Chigarwa. Rubai Jiji de Koranga, Meba Toma Mebana Gideon, Gideon, and a Jiji dancer de Trubai Jiji Temba, Jenny. That charges some then Jishaguari.
Nibati Dubai Kitchela.
Toma Chingy Dobjito, Toma Gina Gideon, you Gideon, Chingy Dobjitowa, Trubai Jiji Temba.
So, and then this naturally abiding Buddha nature has three characteristics to it. The first characteristic of this naturally abiding Buddha nature is that it has been existing since beginningless lifetime. From lifetime, proceeding from lifetime to lifetime, gradually, uninterruptedly since beginningless time. And that's the first characteristic to it. And the second is that it has been attained through the ultimate sphere of reality. That means it's not a phenomenon that is newly attained somewhere along the line, but it exists because of the ultimate reality, attained because of of the ultimate reality, because of Dhammadhatu. And what it depends upon, relies upon, is the sixth mental consciousness, because all of the other sensory consciousness, they're there at times and at other times not there. So, Ikikeche, the Ikikeche, how to say? The mental consciousness is something that is there all the time. So it depends. You have to say it. This natural abiding Buddha nature then depends upon this. So these are the three characteristics of it.
It's temper to us. That indeed you got any Sami Simji Sabin. O Tendiki Sami Simji Chapa Sumdenki Sami Simji Sabin Tela Rashineri Sacha.
So this naturally abiding Buddha nature with these three characteristics is the seed for the uncontaminated mind. So this is the naturally abiding Buddha nature.
That tenderly any Rashineri Tela any Tersoki Rangi Ani Tewacha, Tersamjis, Tersam Gomsum Chedi, Ani Rasine, Tersam Gomsum Chawala Dene, Ani Rashineri Dela, Tigi, Pabatoba Jebam, Rangi Devuji, Ani Samik Simjeki, Ani Nivade, Tersoki Setani, Pevachi Chengengi, Ani Tersoki Peva Chevi, Sami Castle, Sami Simji Setani. So,
when this naturally abiding Buddha nature is nurtured through one's reliance on, listening, reflecting, meditation. And when this natural abiding Buddha nature is nurtured by, our listening, understanding, and meditation, then when the nurturing of these brings forth the result of the individual's realizations of the Arya path, thereby, kind of nurturing this seed for the uncontaminated mind. This is what is known as the developmental Buddha nature.
Yindam ko rikoran minda ni mewa che ngarji thoma mebana jine jidi yongwi same simji saben khorang la ani theso ge satapna theso ge setamna rashineri da genjuri nika che theso ge se mada winega la rashineri mando genjukri mai ba che.
So, according to the Chittamantas, they don't really distinguish, naturally abiding in Buddha nature and developmental Buddha nature they don't really distinguish it. What they say is this naturally abounding Buddha nature existing since beginningless lifetimes, proceeding from one lifetime to another, which is the seed for the uncontaminated mind. When this is being nurtured by listening, reflecting, meditation, then it is in the phase of being in the developmental Buddha nature. So therefore, they don't really say, Buddha nature has these two facets to it. It doesn't say. It's just naturally abiding Buddha nature, which is the seed for the uncontaminated mind. But when it is being nurtured by listening, reflection, and meditation, then it is in that phase of the developmental Buddha nature.
What tenderly any retailer any Tibasum Yawa Yinzang any Tibarang Ringi any Chanju to Jurungi Sum Jayagana Radisum teaching the Chanju Jurungi Richi Tadu teaching the Chanju Jurungi Richi Tadu Yanega Chanju Jurungi Richi Tadu any Raja Charungi Richi Cheni Dongandela Tadu Tibasum the Tua Daba Singa de Sigwari.
So according to them, then there are, this Buddha nature services the individuals of the three vehicles. Those, when you have the view of accepting that ultimately that there are three vehicles, then you have, Buddha nature which services the ultimate vehicle of the Mahayana. Enabling the Mahayana enlightenment, the Buddha, and that Buddha nature servicing the individuals of in the Shravaka who assert ultimately then the Shravaka vehicle, and then attaining the Shravaka Buddhahood, and then the Buddha nature that enables the attainment of the Pratyeka Buddhahood.
Tadu Tibasu the Trua Doa Yinzang, Tadu Yandu Doa Yinzang, Rikorang, Dujache, Duja Yinzang, Tadu Yandu Chanju Gurung Guru to Damba Trua. Tadu Ani Ranja Chanju Guru to Gurung Guru to Damba Truba Yinzang, Anna Tadu Chanju de Mato Pato, Ritishan to Jua Meba, Kot Damba Truba Yinzang, Ritishan to Jua Meba Doguare.
In presenting that ultimately that there is these three vehicles, then if you, those who assert that ultimately then the Shravaka vehicle, that those individuals who bear the Buddha nature of this vehicle, then this Buddha nature is a composite phenomenon, and also. And to attain that Shravaka Buddhahood, then they assert or they accept that this Buddha nature is truly existent, and so therefore, since they assert that it is truly existent, it can in no way be transformed into another mode, and so until you attain the Shravaka Buddhahood, that Buddha nature of that individual, defined in that particular vehicle, cannot experience any kind of, change in that Buddha nature, or it cannot experience, that Buddha nature to be, transformed into something else.
Oh, 10 days, that is the chance to do Tadu get Tibar, or Tadu get Tibar, and the Toba Chinga, Tadu Tibasum, Tadu get Tibalaya, Juni, Jungachi, Ranjala Jungachi to Stua. Or tell you is that tender what Tadu Ya, Yandu Lamla, Rimba, Shidu Juni, and a Tolam Top, Gualam Tomni, Gualam Gujudu, Yandi Dajibu Combat Tomni. That touches you and Nashi Jenny. Jenny Dajibu Combat Toma Toba Tedana, Diane Tanju, the Mijaba, 민라와 동아지 풍부 하마다 제비 냥대대 톱 그러와 냥대대 톱니 다 동아지 풍부 하마 매비 하마 냥대 톱발라 단 된다와디 우지 두제 단이 바 균차바 되다 두스레
So those who accept that ultimately there are three vehicles, then you have those that accept ultimately there is the Shravaka vehicle, ultimately there is the Pratika vehicle, and so accordingly they enter into, for example, you enter into the Shravaka vehicle, and having entered, then you gradually progress along the path, attaining the Shravaka path of seeing, path of meditation, and then eventually attain the state of an arhat of that Shravaka vehicle. And initially you attain the state of you attain the state of an arhat, which is which still bears the suffering aggregates, which still has the suffering aggregates, and so it is known as a nirvana with remainder by having these suffering aggregates, and then upon death, then you attain the nirvana without remainder, because you no longer have the association with the suffering aggregates. So this part is different from the viewpoint of the say prasangikas.
Getomba kausu Kanyang taba gyeme bala shuba tetanis Kanyang taba gyeme bala shuba sena nyandu ki tonlam la shuba nyandu ki tonlam la shuba ki ta nyandu yuare nyandu shuba joba jibu wa se kurani tonlam nyandu da joba komba tomni ani kuzu zui dangadela tendra wa de Kanyang taba gyeme bala shuba tetani 나나면 봐 양다바 저기 산제주 코마토바게 타비와 말이지 대매와데 가래에서나 다다 좀 토비 진도 아니 겨와 균차와 거기 균지 삼제비치를 겨와 균차와 겨와 균마잖아 아니 대제라 대제를 남라 주니 산제주 코마토가 제주와 매와 겨와 균차바이다 리바 균차바 인장 아니 대제를 남라 주야 매와 타두기 특바 타두년데 특바 타투바
So therefore, in the Prajna Paramita with the 8,000 verses, the 8,000 verses, versed Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, then within that it says, there's a line which says, whoever enters into the flawless purity, yantava, purity, referring to those who attain the Shravakas, path of seeing. So upon attaining that state of an arhat, then because in attaining that state of that arhat of the Shravaka, then one cuts off the continuity of a birth is cut off, and so therefore one is without the means to enter into a path to attain the unsurpassed, perfect and complete state of enlightenment. One no longer has the opportunity to attain the Mahayana enlightenment because of the severance of the continuum, the mental continuum. So this is how it is so for someone who accepts that ultimately there are these three vehicles. So for this individual who asserts that the ultimate vehicle is the Shravaka vehicle, then this is how it is.
Oh yeah, 타두 티바섬도 주어 동간 텔라양 양 링이 타두 티바직도 주어 동간데라 가사르직 아니 단다 나싱이 전이 아니 리바 균청게 지당 다 되는 양 창주 리지 년대도 리망에와 년대 라좀비 공방 톱네 아니 양 산제지 공방라야 통계지기 라좀바리 이와 이 말이.
So in amongst those who accept that ultimately there are three vehicles, in amongst them, then there are two categories. One is the one that was just explained, that your mental continuum is severed upon the attainment of the Shravaka arhatship, and so therefore one is without the occasion to attain any others, Maya enlightenment or so forth. Then there's a second viewpoint who says that one needn't be defined in the Shravaka lineage or a Pratyeka lineage, and so therefore for them, then upon attaining the Shravaka Buddhahood or the Pratyeka Buddhahood, then because they are not defined in that lineage, then they can they can enter into the Mahayana path and attain the Mahayana enlightenment.
Oh yeah, that is the Kasori Ranja says Samzambi Luji and Ranja Rashineridang Yanjuguri Todang and attended Ritella and Riksum Tadunyando Chanju Tadu Chanju teaching Chanju Tadu Tabasum to Triachi, the Twitchik to check.
So with the Chittamatran viewpoint, then this is how the Buddha natures are, the naturally abiding Buddha nature, and what the developmental Buddha nature is about. And then also, Chittamatrans present, three types of beings, in accordance with in accordance with the view of in accordance with presenting that ultimately there is the Shravaka vehicle, ultimately the Pratyeka vehicle, ultimately the Mahayana vehicle.
That Simji Chuni Rashinerus Dongandi, Tao Umatarani Imbari.
So those who designate that the Dhamma Dhatu of the mind, that the suchness of the mind, that the ultimate reality of the mind is the naturally abiding Buddha nature, is the Madhyamika, Prasangika, and the Swatantrikans.
Yinzang, Umaranju Bhagya Kausa Simji Chuni Rusu Degua Rede. Ani Simdi Timadan Tradi Zamba Dajumbi Kasa Timadan Travi, that Benadajum Toba Tisana, Simji Dingi Chuni Ko, Ani Kararesana, Godenging or Mindroba. Goden Sirigana, Ani Kararesana, Simji Dingi Chuni de, Ani Nyambi Tram Tibadan Travi, Trajaji, Yang Kunzowaji Jokwe.
So, Umaranju Bad
Ranjubaki, Chuni used to do about Chibache.
And Timothy,
That is Chuni used to do about Dana Yang, and the same we think Chuni de Penadajum to the Zamba, Yandi Loa the Dajum to the Zamba, and the same with Chuni Korang, and the Dajum Kase, Nijubambi, Godeng or Mondrova.
Kunzo Shayat.
Oh, when Kola, Nijubambi Bamba tele Chuni tele also Nijudan Tavi, Taja Kunzo was Jaguagi. Majana, Semi Chuni Koran Godan Joshi Gamari.
Taja Kunzo. So, even though the Swatantrika Madhyamikans, even though they accept that the Dhamma Dhatu of the mind, that the suchness of the mind is the naturally abiding Buddha nature, yet they still have this view that when upon attaining the state of an arhat, when the defilements of the mind are removed, that suchness of the mind, does not become, is not transformed into that nature of the cessation. So, so what they designate is designate a separate conventional mode, which is the the removal of the afflictions, removal of the defilement of the afflictions from the mind, which is something conventional. So what they cannot, what they are not able to posit, designate, is this, suchness of the mind becoming in the nature of that cessation upon attaining the state of arhat, upon total removal of the defilements from the mind. They are not able to designate that suchness of the mind becoming of the nature of the cessation. So what they propound is some conventional mode which is the total removal of the defilement of afflictions.
Oh yeah, that in the Ranju Bagi, Quadakuto Damba, in Tandamba Mare, Sungwa.
So therefore,
in the Quadakuto Damba, Yin Singango, Carres and a Chinugo, and Semgu Chinugo Tomata Traviting to Quadasham Hatuba, that Taja. So it
is because of this reasoning that Swatantra Madhyamikans say that cessation is a conventional truth for these reasons, because they cannot sort of translate or posit the ultimate reality of the mind to become of the nature of that cessation. When the defilements of the mind are totally removed, that suchness somehow for them is not able to translate into that nature of that cessation. And so therefore they sort of designate a conventional mode which is the total removal of the the defilements of afflictions. And so from this sort of viewpoint, then they say that cessation is a conventional truth.
Oh yeah, that I knew unattended from Mogoba. Chimata Jev Simji Chuni Te. Chimarimba Shinto Jane, Tar Chimatan, Travi Sanjay Komban Toba Tichana. Ani Chicheki Simde Rimba Shinto, Chimarimba Shinto Tade, Tar Chimatan, Travi Simgu Chuni to Judisamba, Ani Goden, Chuni Korang, Ani Chimasepra Bambi Goden, Chimasepra Bambi Yande. What to Sagari?
So, but for the Prasangikas, it's not like this. When the suchness, when the Dhammadhatu of the mind, when the suchness of the mind, which is bound with defilements, when it comes to be gradually removed of all these defilements, then this suchness itself becomes the cessation. You have when this mind, bound with defilements, comes to be purified, gradually purified of all of its defilements, then this ultimate reality of the mind itself becomes the cessation, which is which is basically the total abandonment of all the defilements, the total exhaustion of all the defilements.
Oh yeah, 真正一张，他起码的介于身体群体的。 타르 고den경 조교와 인자 산제기 고den경 조와 인자 산제기 고den데 오니고 생각데 타바 니단 덴비 인 타도 타바 랑신기 트메 타바 루부기 트메 타바기 타바 니데 세데 고덴데
so this mind, bound with defilements, when it is purified, when it goes through the purification process, then this ultimate reality of the mind, this Dhammadhatu of the mind, this suchness of the mind becomes transformed into the nature of that cessation. And so this is what is known as the Swabhava Kaya, a holy body of the Buddha's body of the nature itself, in the state of Buddhahood. So this is what is known as that which is endowed with the two purities, the purity of the 타반이 된데 란싱기 타바
란싱치메 타바다 누부치치메 타바
란싱치메 타바다 누부치메 the purity which is the purity of the natural defilements and the intrinsic defilements, natural defilements, and the purity of the provisional or the adventitious defilements.
Oh yeah, then that Rashineri Senadela Kandiji Goguare Sena Tumada Jevi Simji Chuni Sigala Sim Korayang Aning Aranji Sase Sua Tumada Jevi Simji Chuni Se Tumada Jevi Simji Chuni Se Kang Chuni Kangi Dingi Donshi Chijan Kangi Dingi Sim Tang sim kanju maju trigo mare nimongjen ge sim do maranzu juji denzing ge ding ge sim do denzing ji ge chuni do ani nimong ge ding ge ani chuni do denzu trigo mare 가르레 sana rangshin nere de la chmadan jebi simji chuni yimba ngo ni gu jurungji gogware
so when we talk about the naturally abiding Buddha nature, how this should be understood is that the naturally abiding Buddhahood is the Dhammadhatu of our mind which is bound with defilements. The ultimate reality or the suchness of a mind which is bound with defilements. So the basis of this the basis of this suchness, the basis of this reality, the basis of this Dhammadhatu, the basis of this emptiness shouldn't be any sort of mind. It cannot be a mind which is grasping at true existence. It cannot be an afflicted mind. It has to, when we are saying that the naturally abiding Buddha nature is the Dhammadhatu of our mind, which is with defilements, then it has to be it has to be a mind which can be transformed into that naturally abiding Buddha nature. So therefore, it cannot be a mind which is grasping at true existence or an afflicted mind. So the suchness of a mind which is bound with defilements, it has to be a mind which can be transformed into that Buddha nature, naturally abiding Buddha nature. 다다 동시 출전지어라 동시 출전디 렌징이 로다 뇽원칭이 로다 용야 요마레스 디
렌마데 제비 셈 춘이 주고아레
주마다 제베 셈이 춘이디다 렌신에리기 귤로 두냐 치고아레스
셈지 춘이디 란신에리고 오조체 란신에리기 셈기 춘이디 가서 셈지 춘이디 오뉴고 두아체 그 강기 동시 최전인 비 셈데 이시추공 어디로 주고 거래.
Ale tumada chebe chunidi
전유디 뭐니고 들음체.
동시디
동시 최전 셈데 이시추공 어디로 남지용 어디로 주고 거래.
Ishichugo. I made a mistake. When we talk about when we talk about the ultimate reality of our mind, the Dhammadhatu of our mind, which is with defilements, then should be should be something that will transform into the Swabhavakaya holy body of the Buddha, the Buddha's body of nature itself. Previously I said the naturally abiding with nature, not naturally abiding with nature, but into the Svabhavakai holy body. And the basis upon which the basis of this Dhammadhatu should be transformed into the wisdom truth body, the wisdom truth. The wisdom truth body, basically meaning the omniscient mind.
인장 딘진도 주의 이신남시로 녀몽 젠지 셈대로기 녀몽 젠지 셈당 딘진도 주의 아니 셈대다기 띵기 춘이데 정말 제위 셈지 춘이 레데
The Dhammadhatu of an afflicted mind, the Dhammadhatu of a mind grasping at true existence, they are mind states which are bound with afflictions, which are bound with defilements, but these mind states, the Dhammadhatu of these mind states cannot be transformed into the Swabhavakaya holy body, or the basis of the emptiness of this Dhammadhatu cannot be transformed into the wisdom truth body.
년비 도지 가드 잠바 아니 동시 최장고 년비 도지 가드 간라 동바데 quyết定그 천이데 랑시 메조거래.
Why is it like this? Is because you see the basis of emptiness, the basis of the Dhammadhatu of an afflicted mind, of a mind grasping at true existence. When the basis of these of these suchness, of these Dhammadhatu, when antidotes are applied, the basis of these emptiness are all gotten rid of, or are ceased, stopped. When we talk about the Dhammadhatu of the afflicted mind, or the Dhammadhatu of the mind grasping at true existence, we're talking of the emptiness, the suchness of these minds. When these minds, go through the antidotes, the basis of this suchness of the afflicted mind are also ceased, and so it has no basis for transforming into anything else.
주마다 제비 셈데 메디 잠바 아니 치유고 내사기 시코란 말인 바래.
So when the basis of the emptiness has no grounds to remain, then the emptiness or the suchness upon it has no basis to remain.
어인자 최전이 맨나 춘이 양가와를 내위 투매배 전이 내생님 보나라 송도와 장군으로 정하지 최전 땐 최전데 맨나 춘이의 양가를 내가 그 투요와 말이
Koasumres.
땐
in Lekshin Yimbo, the essence of eloquent sayings, within that it says that if you don't have the basis upon which the illustration of the emptiness is being presented, then you no longer have the emptiness. Also, if you do not have the illustrating basis.
Oh yeah, that is a Rashi la Kandu Guare Sena. Ani teacher Timada Jevi Simji Chini said, oh, Sim Koraya, Ya Sanjaki Shichu, or Durunji Imbache, Ti Dingi, Ani Chini della, Ani Rashi Neri, Siva Imbari.
So when we talk about the naturally abiding Buddha nature, then it has to be the Dhamma Dhatu of a mind which is bound with defilements, the suchness or the emptiness of a mind which is bound with defilements, and this mind has to be that which is able to transform into the wisdom Dhammakaya.
Oh, that is.
Say. Say that again. Tanda gengus ranshin erisia de timanta chebe sem chuni chikuwa ra.
Ranshin erila.
Ranshin ela. And di chuni di yishi chukungo gyugwa ra.
Chuni marda. Kana tensi semde.
Semde.
Kangi chuni imba ki semde.
Yishi chukungo.
Oh, this is you imba.
So.
Onchi chejen semde yishi chuku jurunji dang.
So the naturally abiding Buddha nature has to be the suchness or the emptiness of a mind which is bound with defilements, and this mind, the basis, the mind is something that which can be transformed into the wisdom truth body, and the emptiness of that mind is something that which can transform into the Swabhava Kai holy body.
Oh yeah, that is about that the ma Jean Jean Zawa Korale teacher teaching that Timmy Yi said teacher teaching the Kandachila Sagare Timada Jebi teaching ni Satang around the Juji Simji Chini teacher. Teaching ye de Ani Lubuk Tima Numo Bula Matroa. Lubuk Tima Matroa, Lubuk Timada Jawa. Come Rashi number Taba said Anita Rashi number Taba said Chini Tegi Rashila and a Timela Batana Mashuba. Oh, Timela Mashuba Chini Rashi number Taba, Tendam Demba Tela. Simji Chini te, Tendam Demba Yin, Chini Yin. Ra, or Tenda Wade, that Tishishi Nimbo said that the Lessigoim, Tishishi Nimbo said.
So the verse which says, the virtuous three jewels which are rare and sublime arise from suchness, suchness bound with pollution, meaning the Dhammadhatu of a mind which is bound with affliction, which is bound with defilements. We're talking about the suchness or the emptiness of the mind, that which is bound with defilements, from the one free from pollution, from the one free from and Tanjigen Tanjabuche Homaso Godi Tanda.
Teacher teaching ye say got a Timada Jebi teaching ye and a Timada Jebi Simji Chini teacher.
So the first arise from suchness bound with pollution is the ultimate reality or the suchness of a mind. Suchness of mind which is bound with defilements.
Oh, tenderly, some Rashi Nabata, some Chini de Tishini de New Movie Bula Madrova. 누구지 tema 누구가 tema라 마줘 녀모베 불라 마줘봐
This Dhamma Dhatu of the mind, this section of the mind, is not free from all the adventitious defilements, from the defilement of the afflictions.
tema semji rangshila mashuba기 아니 rang신 남바 타바.
So, the defilements not existing in the very nature of the mind. Tumasimbi Ranshila Mashupa.
Mashubagi Ranshin Nambataba, Ranshin Chiman Nambatanashila.
So, because the defilements do not exist in the nature of the mind, then so it is naturally pure.
Oh, tenderly, any chunide, tendam debayare.
So, this Dhamma Dhatu, this suchness, is the ultimate truth.
Oh, tender what the tombanyare.
And this is also emptiness.
Oh, tenderly, tendam deba tombani tela, any tissue shivi nimbo. Say, come the other shipping nimbo, my tissue shivi nimbo, said it, and did a shivare.
This ultimate truth, this suchness is also known as the essence of our Buddhahood, the Tathagata Garbha. So, arise from suchness bound up with pollution, from the one free from pollution, from the qualities of unpolluted Buddhahood, and from the deeds of the victor. This is the object of those who see the ultimate truth.
What? Kasore, Tishishi Nimbo Segi, and a Tishishi Nimbo de Tijagi Tishishaba, Tela Mashoba, Tabani Denji, and a Tishishi Nimbo, Tabani Dela, Tabani Denji in Tadodela, and a Tishishi Nimbo, Nimbo Sigala, and a Kaso Nimbo.
So this Tathagata Garbha is not Timata Chebel.
Tabani Densena, Ranshiji Timata, Lubuji Timaniga, Tabaniga, Tembi, Tabi, Sanjagi, Monu Arawa.
Dingela Gangachik Susan, Tishinshibe Nimbo de Tichegi.
Tenon Dembatella. Tenon Dembatella Tishinshibi Nimbo Siguares, Chuni Siguares.
And this should go Dilla Tichegi Shagmaris, Tapani de la Shagres.
And this is my teacher Shamas Mare, Tapani Dentella Sira, Tapani Dentella, and it Casore Tishinshibi.
Tabaniden de la Inter
Tabaniden de la Tishishi Shagmari. Tishishi said, Tanda Semjang Juji Semde, Semgiting Chuni, Tela Shabamato. Tenanda Batela Shagres. Tabaniden de la Tishishi even Dodang, Ani Doti Gonde, Dendin Disandele, Tishishi Nimbug Tela, Ani Casore. Tishishi Mingi to the Tabani Dentella, Gilazandi Gasu, Tishishi Ningi, Mingi Dambasam Yoris.
Tabani Dentella,
Tatani Bentella, Tishishi Nimbi Dodang, Gilazandi Gasu, and Tishishi Ningi, Mingi Dambasam Yore, Mato, Tishishi Nimbo Mares. Tabani Dent. Tabani Dent on you go.
And the Handa Tabani didn't quite jaureta.
Tabani Dentella, Tabani Dent on you go check. Sanjago Chuni, Tenanda Badesha. That Tishishi, Tabani Dentella, and Gula Matzareta, Tishishi, Nimbi Doyi Gasu, and a Tishishi, Nimbo Shig, Mingi Tambas of your race. Mingi Tambas of your ready, Tishishi, Nimbo Mares.
So, when we talk about that which is endowed with the two purities, the natural purity and the purity of the the provisional defilements.
Tabani Dentella, Tishishi Nimbo, Mingi Tambazan, your Mares. That Mingi Tambazan, your Mares. Is that Tabani Tishishi Nimbo Tawan and Mares? Mingi Tambazan, your Mares.
So that which is endowed with these two purities, then is what is referred to as the Swabhavakaya holy body. So, this body endowed with the two purities is not designated even by way of a label or by way of a name as a
Tishivi Nimbo Tesna, Tishivi Nimbo Tapani Dentela, Sanjaji Chogu Dela, Tishivi Dolan Yulamadang, Tishivi Nimbin Doyakaso, Tishivi Nimbuki, Mingi Tampatama Yomares, Mingi Tampata Mebe, Ani Kasore, Tishivi Chugula, Ani Tishivi Nimbo Jobadeta, Mitabare Sungware.
John, you want to go ahead? I don't want.
도대체 제가 다반이된 인타도 좋아라. 다반이된 인타도지. 산재경 오니고 좋아라. 오 산재경 오니고 되라. 대신시 인빈 도당 대공대 줄라마 잔대 그래. 대신시 인비 무명그 무슨 담바 조사잖아 요 말에. 대신시 명 조사잖아 요 말에. 매바이자 다반이된 대라 디신시비 님보 쳐봐대 다랑가 다가스 쳐봐라 말이 디신시비 님보 말에 다 잖아 잖아 잠어서 다 지다 다반이 된 데를 자꾸 말해. 다반이 된. 지탄들 민시 민기 좀 시점 받자요 말해. 대요 말해서. 민 때문에 요 말에 다 추구라 안 디신이 비서 디시시 님보 잡아들 랑가 소소 랑가 샤가마나 흉내 흉값이야 말에 세지를 다 들어들이라.
So basically it's saying that the body which is endowed with these two purities, which means the Swabhavakaya holy body, for this to be stated as the to be stated as the Tathagata Garbha, it's not stated like that in any respect in any of these sutras, in the Tathagata Garbha, essence of the Tathagata Sutra doesn't state that, and even in this commentary it's not stated like that. For anyone to say it so is just an individual thing, some sort of individual point of view, saying that the body endowed with these two purities is the Tathagata Garbha, is an individual viewpoint. It's not the statement of any of these sutras. And like the Tathagata essence of the Tathagata Sutra, the commentary, this commentary here, it doesn't, it makes no such statement. It's just an individual viewpoint.
다 주사대 가서래서 너 생기 가수 아니 대신 시비 님보 처음에 넘바 타바 죽을 숨바 그봐 대신 시비 님보 처음에 넘바 타바 죽을 숨바 아니 가서래 시제도 되나 라 타바니 된데라 아니 대신 시비 님보 샤와 샤야 그 시제되라 아니 가르래서나 도시나 대신 시비 님보 처음에 타바지 죽을 숨게 숨바디 시제 장기이나 디신시비 님보 처음에 넘바 타바 죽으래 디신시비 님보 거랑 죽고 말해 좋아
So the confusion, where does this confusion arise from? It's because in some sutras state that the essence of the Tathagata which is completely free of the defilements. They state is the Dharmakaya, is the truth body. There are sutras that state that. It is correct to say that the essence of the Tathagata Garbha, which is completely purified of the defilements. It is the truth body. It is the Dharmakaya, but the essence of the Tathagata is not the Dharmakaya. Tishin shipe nimbo time number thaba the chuku shanye ge do yores. Tishin shipe nimbo chuku number thaba the digores. Kaza tishin shipe nimbo time number thaba the chuku shad the digores. Tishin shipe nimbo chuku shad the digomaras. That's right. It's okay. I repeated back what I just told you also.
Oh yeah, that digi tiche tishin yidang. Zedi tisha pare, tisha tishin yidaya sirikala, ane tumata jebi simji chuni, ane tishin shibi nimbo desha.
So, when we talk about a suchness which is bound with defilements, that is the essence of the Tathagata Garbha.
That tisha tishin yidan tume sirikala, tuma maybe tishin yidi. Chumada may be teaching you the Sanja Guji, and it Kasura Chugu the Chagua.
So, the suchness which is without defilements, the suchness which is without defilements, that has to be the Dharmakaya of a Buddha.
Yada Chuma may be teaching you, Chumada Jevi teaching Nite, Rima Hindu Teme Cheta to Sunday. Tar ani kasore chuma tata sane ani sanje ki sar ani chuma tata seba ku chungu ojogo ware rawa chungu tela ani chungu sanje ki sar chuma tata sebi ani chungu ojogo wala ani tela chujuku sede da jogo embare.
How is this suchness of without defilements, which is the Dhammakaya of the Buddhahood? How this is so is how this comes about is when the when the suchness with defilements is gradually diminished of its defilements, gradually, one by one like that eventually, so much so that it is totally exhausted when this suchness with defilements, when this suchness of the mind with defilements is totally exhausted, completely removed of all the defilements, and then this suchness is transformed into the Dhammakaya of that Buddhahood.
Ne juwa kaelenba maro tiche ki tishin yi koran time ki tishin yi ba kaelenga maro wa.
Ne juwa mashin.
Ne juwa mado tiche ki tishin yi de ne judi ane tumam bi tishin juwa mado kaji kunzu ki te juwa shamde kana tiche ki tishin yi de time ki tishin yi de juwa sango ware.
So what is being pointed out is the changes in the state, the changes in the changes in the phases of these suchness with defilements, gradually changing into suchness without defilements, which is the Dhammakaya of the Buddha. So this is what is accepted, as opposed to a suchness with defilements transformed into a suchness without defilements.
What digi that to me says down there to me stay but she said I Beji Sushi Medo Rita Linshi Ninde Jemba Sanje Shindu Mide Buwa Ye Droke Namda Shin La Jeba Oyidang Guru Rana Mendra Lagani Adaya